All right, guys, we got a list of UFC fighters that you should not bet on the year 2025. Now, guys, the year 2024 was such a good year in terms of betting for me. I'm talking about we were cashing out on our parlays. I'm talking about four-leg parlays, doing our thing, winning some good bread. But in the mix of our parlays, we had a couple of hiccups on our parlays. And I feel like those hiccups are going to translate into 2025. So, guys, I'm here to let you know who these fighters are. But before we go ahead and tell you who these fighters are, guys, go ahead and like the video, subscribe. We are on a road to 500 subscribers. Let's go ahead and grow this community, man. We are a small community trying to make it big, baby. So help your boy do his thing. But without further ado, enough of me talking your ears off. Let's go ahead and get into the first fighter that I feel like you should not bet on the year 2025. And I feel like the first fighter we should definitely talk about is Amir Albazi. Now, guys, man, Amir Albazi, man, going into the fight with Brandon Moreno, he was a plus 154 underdog. Now, guys, you will think, okay, plus 154 underdog. You have a wrestler going against a striker. Now, Amir Albazi, he had a couple of hiccups in his past fight going against Brandon Moreno, but you can feel stylistically going against Brandon Moreno, this can be a tough task for Brandon Moreno. You feel like Amir Albazi is going to go ahead and control most of this fight, but motherfucks, was I wrong, man? This dude, Brandon Moreno, went ahead and 50-45 Amir Albazi, and he made that plus 154 underdog look like a shell of himself, man. He should have been a plus 900 freaking underdog the way he got schooled by Brandon Moreno, guys. It was absolutely ridiculous. It felt like a highway robbery when you went ahead and betted on Amir Albazi. You felt like the Vegas, the odds, you just felt like they just stole your money in front of your face and you can't do a single thing about it. And I was crying that night, man. So, guys, I'm telling you this right now. Going into 2025, Amir Albazi is officially on my personal do not bet list, and I will never, ever, ever put a single penny on Amir Albazi. It is an instant fade. Every time that I see Amir Albazi on a card, I will not bet on him, especially in 2025 until he can show me something different, guys. Now, guys, if you want to go ahead and put your personal money on Amir Albazi, I'm telling you this right now, you are on a gamble of a lifetime, man. And if you are going to put your money on Amir Albazi like a stupid person, which I suggest you don't do, I suggest you go ahead and put your money on him as an underdog. Do not put your money on Amir Albazi as a favorite. Even though value for Amir Albazi at a favorite spot. And guys, I'm telling you right now, just all in all, just put him on your do not bet list, because this dude right here will mess up your ticket and he will mess up your cash money and your cash flow. Now, guys, let's go ahead and get into the next fighter up on the list. We have Bo Nickel, man. You mean to tell me you got Donald Trump telling you that he wants to see your fight before he even got elected as a president, and he does exactly what he says. After he gets elected as a president, first thing he does is show up to a Bo Nickel fight as his first appearance as the president. And what Bo Nickel does, he puts on an absolute shit show against Paul Craig, which was absolutely crazy to me. How do you put on a shit show against Paul Craig? Which was crazy. I felt like the UFC handed you Paul Craig for as an easy fight, even though we all know Paul Craig is an easy fight. This dude beat Jamal Hill and Ankalaev. But it felt like ages ago that happened. This felt like this is a perfect spot for Bo Nickel to go ahead and finish this fight by KO or TKO. But he did not do that, man. Let alone, I did not bet on this on my parlay. I don't like doing this type of props. He did not go over his takedown attempts. I forgot what it was at, maybe 3.5 takedown attempts or 4.5 takedown attempts. He did not go over that total. Let alone, I think he only shot one takedown. Let alone, I don't think he shot any takedowns in that fight. He just made it a true stand-up fight for himself, and he made it an absolute boring fight for himself with Donald Trump in town, and he didn't show any of his main skills to the president. And he made me lose money that night because I had this man Bo Nickel by KO, TKO, thinking he was going to go ahead and, take Paul Craig to the ground and beat him by ground and pound. By any means, I don't see Bo Craig attempting submissions or being good at attempting submissions against a black Brazilian jiu-jitsu belt guy. So I thought he was just going to maul his ass on the ground and pound him. But guess what? Motherfucker did not do that, and he did not win me any bread. Guys, be careful betting on Bo Nickel. More of the goddamn story. Next fighter up on the list, we have Brian Battle, man. Now, guys, I didn't bet on Brian Battle. I betted on Randy Brown when Brian Battle and Randy Brown faced each other, and I felt like I got robbed. I feel like the Vegas just literally took my money in front of my face, and I couldn't do a thing about it. They are bullies, bro. When you really go ahead and really think about it, Vegas are literally bullies because they went ahead and took my money on this fight right here. I had Randy Brown winning, and Brian Battle went ahead and snuck in for the highway robbery, and I couldn't do a single thing about it, man. This dude missed weight, first off, so it's, let alone betting on him is a scary task because this dude is going to probably miss weight. Not only that, all this motherfucker does is grab. That's all he does. He doesn't put on any striking display at all, any damage. And I thought the main criteria for judging is damage. And he does not do that and inflict that on his opponent. So for that reason alone, he is a tough person to bet on because the challenges are only going to get better from Randy Brown when you really think about it. And let alone, he barely beat Randy Brown. And this dude was like a minus 300 favorite going into this fight. So now going into his next fight, I can't expect Brian Battle to go ahead and put on a better performance than what he did against Randy Brown. So at this point, I have to go ahead and say Brian Battle is on the do not bet list. Until further notice, until I see something better. Next fighter on the list, we got Cody Durden now, guys. Man, I was a stupid dude to bet against Joshua Van, man, because I had Cody Durden winning that fight, man. I thought a Cody Durden with 6 to 8 weeks on a fight camp would be a scary Cody Durden because he is the bigger fighter going into this fight. He is the well-rounded MMA fighter going into this fight. Well, at least that's what I thought because Joshua Van, after the first round where Cody Durden put in some pretty good work against Joshua Van and won the first round, it was all Joshua Van right after that, man, because Joshua Van gave Cody Durden the absolute business, man. Cody Durden looked like an absolute shell of himself, and it showed that this dude is big for nothing in the flyweight division, and this dude has nothing to show in the future for the flyweight division. So, guys, I'm telling you this right now. If you're going to bet on Cody Durden, he's not going to give you much but one round of good fighting. I'm telling you that right now. Whether that be in the second, third, or the first round, you go ahead and pick how that goes. But Cody Durden for a full 3 rounds of fighting will not give you a Cody Durden of specialness. And I'm telling you right now, betting on Cody Durden, you will not win a single dime betting on this dude. And also, I may add, this dude have one of the worst coaches ever. I don't know where the coaches are from. I don't know what team it is, but these coaches give you the worst freaking ideas ever and the worst things to do, and they say the worst things ever. Now, Cody Durden was winning, not winning, but he had this fight tied up at 1-1. Cody Durden winning the first round and Joshua Van winning the second. And the coaches gave this dude, Cody Durden, the worst idea ever, telling him that this dude is losing this fight 2-0 and this dude has to go for broke. And that's exactly what Cody Durden did. And this dude got his ass set up to go ahead and get pieced up by Joshua Van instead of inflicting the same game plan he did in the first round to win him the round. But all in all, guys, I'm telling you right now, this dude, Cody Durden, is not a guy you want to go ahead and put money on because he will lose you some solid cash. Next fighter up on the list, we got Raul Rosas Jr. Now, guys, man, Raul Rosas Jr., it's clear as day that this dude is getting fed absolute jobbers, guys. It's clear as day that Raul Rosas Jr. is going to be a minus 700 plus favorite every time. But going into this spot, man, I seen that Raul Rosas Jr. going against Arichiang. He didn't really put on a good showcase against Arichiang as a minus 1,000 favorite. Arichiang in that fight was giving Raul Rosas Jr. the business on a stand-up at UFC Noche, the biggest event that the UFC had to offer. And he didn't really show up in terms of the stand-up game. He didn't show up so much to the point he had to take Arichiang to the ground and try to finish him. Now, granted, he did get the finish, and then he did bring up the hype for the UFC Noche fans that were in attendance at the time. But when you go ahead and look at it, man, this dude Raul Rosas Jr. will get fed to the dogs at some point in his career. And I feel like it is going to be the year of 2025 where Raul Rosas Jr. takes a step up in competition. He's been asking for a step up in competition. So as he sees a step up in competition, I feel like his hype will decline because he will lose. Or he will not just simply show up how you guys think he will show up, and I will be fading this dude Raul Rosas Jr. in 2025 at all times. Now, granted, will that make my parlay? Probably not. I will single bet fading Raul Rosas Jr. But you'll win some solid coins if he does lose, more than likely. Next fighter up on the list, we got Vicente Luque. Now, guys, Vicente Luque just got a beautiful knockout against Demba Garambo. Beautiful knockout. But I feel like that's where the rubber meets the road. I feel like that's all it's gonna be, man. I'm not gonna fall in for the hype that Vicente Luque is back. I just don't think it's going to be that case. Now, Vicente Luque as the underdog might be a good spot to take, but I feel like that's not even a good spot to take. I feel like Vicente Luque, from this point on out in his career, he's going to get fed nothing but hounds, man. Like, if I see a matchup like Vicente Luque versus Jeff Neal, I'm taking Jeff Neal. If I see a matchup like Vicente Luque versus, like, Joaquin Buckley again or something like that, more than likely I'm taking Joaquin Buckley. I just don't see a good spot for Vicente Luque to really go ahead and flourish unless he has unless he's going against an absolute jobber like Nick Diaz or something. I just don't see Vicente Luque being a good profitable guy to bet on in UFC and in 2025. I feel like you had a good spot betting against him against Demba Garambo, and that'll just be it from there. I need to see more from Vicente Luque. He is a scary bet to bet on. He is on the back end of his career. I'm just not a big fan on betting on older fighters. And Vicente Luque, just not a fan of it. Next fighter up on the list, and the last fighter up on the list, I feel like we needed to add a female fighter that I feel like will take a decline, and a female fighter that you probably shouldn't bet on in the year 2025, and that is Alexa Grasso. I think Alexa Grasso takes a decline. Now, guys, the women's division, whether it be the bantamweight, flyweight, or strawweight division, I feel like they age in dog years. They age pretty fast. And I feel like Alexa Grasso is aging right before our eyes, man. I feel like she has nothing to really challenge herself for unless she really has that hunger to go back for the belt, which I don't think she has. She accomplished the belt. She defended the belt, did everything she needed to do, won her money. Now do I see Alexa Grasso being back in 2025 as his major return to be to contend for the belt again? I just don't see it. I don't see value in Alexa Grasso at this point. I feel like fading Alexa Grasso will be the best move to do in 2025 and moving forward. I just don't see a spot where Alexa Grasso just becomes the same old Alexa Grasso that we know her to be. And I feel like that is a good thing to do if you guys are looking to fade Alexa Grasso. You'll win some pretty good money, and that's something I'm looking to do. Now, guys, if you made it this far in the video, you already know what to do. Like the video, subscribe. I ain't gotta tell you to, you already know to. It's your boy Freddie MMA. And I'm out.